it was a big scandal in my country. I was in news. I was with reporters after me because I grew a lot. It was a big boom with the business.
And
a lot of
when
people
the company
making
did bad,
money.
they blamed you.
Of course.
Funny.
It was like they were saying that it was a permit and I was a scammer and I was in every news and reporters
which
and everything.
Of course wasn't true.
No, and I was 23. I was too young. You know what I mean? Like, and I was in all this mix. I was feeling very bad, not only because all the external situation, but also internal situation, because my leaders and my team that I used to love and help, and we were so happy making this money. Now they're judging me, going to other companies, talking about me, trying to take all the people to other opportunities. And
welcome to the Excellence Project. My name is Eric Worre, and today I have a network marketing superstar, Ana Cantera, who's going to be sharing with you her whole journey of struggle to superstar success, all the bumps along the way. It's never a straight line, and she's proof of that, but she's also proof that it's worth it if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to learn the skills, if you're willing to develop the systems, which she's done. So she's going to share all that and more. So with no further ado, let's jump right into my conversation with Ana Cantera. Ana Cantera.
Hey.
How are you?
Eric, I'm great. Excited to be here.
You came all the way from Dominican Republic.
Yes.
12 hours.
12 hours.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever been to Dominican Republic. What's Dominican Republic like?
It's a beautiful island in the Caribbean. I didn't know you have never been there.
I like their cigars, but I don't think I've ever been.
Yeah.
Not that I can remember.
It's a beautiful island. It's like, I don't know, have you been in Jamaica?
Sure.
Very similar.
Okay.
It's an island next to Jamaica, also Puerto Rico. Yeah.
So you don't strike me as an island girl.
Why not?
Because island people have a unique vibe. You know what I mean? It's laid back, super chill. It's not, I'm not going to say they're not entrepreneurial, but they're less entrepreneurial than mainland people. Some.
What can I say?
As a group, if you take the whole group,
yeah,
they're kind of chill, right? Am I accurate or not? I have friends that live in Bahamas. I have friends that live, in different island communities.
Yeah, we're like happy, partying, beachy people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the vibe. But I don't know. I think that it has to do a lot with, my background, my parents, the way, I grew up seeing them working.
Tell me about that. Tell me about growing up. Where'd you grow up? Tell me about your parents. Tell me about what led you here.
Okay. So my dad is Cuban, also from the Caribbean. But he moved to Santo Domingo. He met my mom. He married. I'm the older from 3 sisters. So he was an entrepreneur. He was a pilot, but he stopped being a pilot because he had a heart attack. So from that, since
was he an entrepreneur in Cuba or only after he left Cuba?
No, when he left Cuba.
Yeah, because you couldn't really be an entrepreneur in Cuba.
No. After he left Cuba.
That's like...
Yeah. Actually, he started after the heart attack that he had.
Mm-hmm.
He was a pilot. So he couldn't continue being a pilot. So he started, like opening businesses and stuff like that. So that's what I remember.
What kind of
that
businesses?
Phase. Lottery business.
The lottery business?
Yeah, like a lottery business. He started there. He had several things when I was
Santo
little.
Domingo.
Yeah, in Santo Domingo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So he basically he grew a lot in that space with the lottery market. That was like his main thing. He also had another, other investments, but the main thing was that. So I grew up not seeing my mom or dad working in a job. It was like the business, and everybody like focusing on growing the business, opening new franchise and new stores from that lottery business. And I think that has a lot to do with, my entrepreneur mindset that I have today.
Yeah. No, how about your sisters? Are they entrepreneurial or did they go a different path?
Different path.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? They grew up in the same house.
It is.
One can go one way, one can go another way. There's no right or wrong.
No, yeah.
People make their own choices.
Yeah.
But some say, oh, I have to because my parents did. And some says I'm not going to because my parents did.
Yeah. But they're not employee. So we're
Sure.
always, they do different stuff. But I think that employee mindset, we didn't grow up with that,
Yeah, that's a blessing, I think.
Yeah, I think.
Right? Not to think like an employee.
Exactly.
Think more like a business owner.
Exactly.
Or an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Either one.
Actually, I was an employee. I went to college. I wanted to be in human resources. I wanted to study.
Why?
Because my dad died when I was 13.
Mm.
So, my mom was a single mom. I was the older sister. So I had to start working since I was 16. So after my school, I used to go to my house, change, and go and work every day. So I felt like responsible after my dad died.
Did you just had another heart attack or something?
Cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had cancer. So he died.
What was that like at 13?
It was hard. It was
I'll bet.
very hard. Very, very hard because everything changed. It was not only the fact that my dad died and we, suffer all the process of being, in the hospitals and all that process. And my dad was a very strong man. So it was very hard. Not only seeing him like that, it was like, he felt bad that we were seeing him like that because he was the strong one, the one who support the family, work, bring the money to the table. So when he died, that really affected us in many ways because we had to move. We didn't have the same money. Everything changed. So we were like middle class, I can say. It was not bad, a normal kid in a nice neighborhood. And from there, after my dad died, to be in a very poor neighborhood in Santo Domingo, move, change from school to a not very good school, me and my sisters, having this mindset that I have to work the earliest as possible to help my mom. So I think that a lot of, like you're saying, a lot of those things that happened to me, I think that is the reason why I'm the way I am.
Yeah, I mean, you never know in the moment because when you're going through difficult times,
yeah,
if it was all easy, everything was taken care of.
Exactly.
They hand you the family business and you just kind of go on cruise control.
Yeah. We were little. My mom didn't know much about it. So that business, like, it ended up, falling apart. They robbed us.
Really?
Yeah, it was hard. So my mom,
they robbed us? Like
people around my dad, like business partners and even part of my family. You know what I mean? They were older. I have older brothers and sisters. So it was a big confusion and we were three underage.
It's just the saddest thing in the world is when somebody in a family passes away and then everybody fights over it.
It was crazy.
Just the worst.
It was crazy.
I hate it so much.
It was crazy.
I put in my will that if anybody fights over anything, they get nothing.
That's good. That's perfect.
If they question any part of it, they get nothing.
I love it. Yeah, because for us, it was very hard. Imagine, like, since now, there's a lot of things that, like, it have been not sold at this moment. Like, for example, my dad's house is there. Like, we have not been in many years. I'm talking about, like 23 years that my dad died. Like, we haven't been able to really sit down and decide because everybody is, like, fighting still about it. Not everybody. Like, I have relationship with some of them, but some of them, they're not.
It's
hard.
It brings out an interesting part of people that that's their moment to be able to get as much as they can get. You see it. You see a dark side of some people in those circumstances.
Yeah. In my case, I just move on.
You just moved on.
Yeah,
walk
I
away.
move on.
That's the best
Long
thing
time
because if you put your energy there, you'll
But
find
imagine,
yourself in a bad spot.
Imagine 13, moving, changing school, being the older one. My mom, she didn't.
That's a tough time in school
work.
anyway at 13.
Yeah, it was hard.
That's where all the mean girls show up.
Yeah, it was hard.
Was there mean girls in your school and all that? Did you have to deal with that?
Kinda, especially because I was, from a nice school. I was this nice little girl with the pink book bag. And then I came to this not that good school. I don't want to say it, but it was in a very bad, neighborhood. So they were like, who is she? Like what she's
Right.
doing here.
Right.
So I was not part of, the crew. I was not even, I didn't even have similar interests, as them. So it was hard to get along but I did it. I made it. I made it through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, were you a good student at school?
I was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Decent student. Okay.
Yeah, good student. But I was the leader type.
Sports, anything?
No.
Any other activities in school, or were you just working?
I was singing, part of the chorus.
Singing?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was.
You're a singer?
Yeah.
Did you ever do anything beyond singing in school?
No, that was all.
No? Never
No.
karaoke? Nothing?
Mm-mm.
Come on.
No, I was
never
very bad at it.
karaoke?
Let me tell you, I was part of it, but I didn't have great supporters, especially my sisters. They were like, "No,
Come on.
that's not your thing." That's not your thing. So it was
Okay.
just a school thing.
All right. Fair enough.
Mm.
So you get out of high school, you go to college.
So that's another story. I didn't really have the money to go to college.
Mhm.
So I couldn't graduate like normal from high school. I didn't have the money to graduate.
Why did you need money to graduate? Do you have to pay down there?
Yeah, you have to pay like an
Ah, it's
extra
not like-
cost.
It's
or
not
something.
like in the United States.
No,
where
you
it's
have
paid
to
for.
pay. In DR, public schools are like very bad. So
Hmm.
even though you're not
So you
you
went to a private school, but a lower level private school.
exactly most of the people they prefer
Understand.
to pay like a private school, even though it's not that good. But the public school in Dominican Republic is even,
Way down.
and it's very dangerous also.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? So they
I
prefer
don't
not
actually,
to
but yeah.
expose us like that.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to pay for the graduation. I didn't have money. That was another situation. I didn't have money to enter the high school right away. So, I just decided to keep working. So I started working in human resources. That's where I started.
So did you go to college or not go to college?
After maybe like 2 years after I got out of high school,
Uh-huh.
I start college. I didn't finish college.
Okay.
Mhm.
So how long did you go?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay, you go a couple years.
Mhm.
You learn a little bit about human resources.
I did business administration.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then you got a job in human resources?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So now you're in your 20s
exactly.
and you've got a job in human resources
Mhm.
in the islands. What was that job like?
It was a good experience because the first company that I worked for, it was Verizon.
Okay.
So it was a North American company.
Sure.
And it was very advanced, in technology and many things. It was not like a small company. So I think that working there, it was very good for me because I had like a bigger vision about everything.
Mhm.
That's where I started then, going to high school because I wanted to be a big manager in human resources in my area.
Okay.
And everything was good until I started realizing that the directors and managers, they didn't really have the life that I wanted to.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
You looked around and saw successful people and said, that's not a good life.
Exactly. I was like, the manager was renting in a, normal apartment. They had a car that the company, gave to them. They were the first coming in, the
And
last
that was
going out.
that was the top of the ladder too.
Exactly. So I was like, I have to finish high school. I have to do a master in human resources. I have to spend a lot of money, time, effort, and that's the
To
life
get
that I'm
that?
gonna have. Yeah. So I realized that at a very, young age. And I was in human resources. I was in recruitment. So I was like a recruitment coordinator. So I was the person that recruited the people for the company, but also I was the person that, gave the resigning letters to the
Mhm.
people every Friday in
Mhm.
human resources. So I saw many people crying, in front of me saying like, I have
Like
10
that
years.
movie Up in the Air with George Clooney when he goes in to fire people all the time. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Ah,
I have to see it.
he's like a professional firer.
Mm.
When companies don't have the courage to do it themselves, they bring him in and he fires people
Oh my God.
for them.
Yeah.
That's his job.
So I remember, it was hard. I remember having this conversation with the manager one time saying, she telling me like, in human resources, you have to have like a very strong heart. because I used to feel bad for these people. I didn't want to
Mhm.
do it. So she was like, that's part of what we do. That's our job. So I remember having conversation with these people. I remember especially one case, a guy married, 2 kids. His wife, she was like, just had a baby, and I had to give him the letter. And that guy had like 20 years. He was old in the position. They wanted a, like, fresh new people with new experience. So he was like, Anna, why? And I was like, legally, I don't have to tell you why. You just have to sign. And the guy, he was like, but I don't have a plan B. I don't even have money. My wife just had a baby. What I'm gonna do now? And he didn't want to sign. He was like, just like thinking about it. And I was like, what I'm supposed to do, And the guy start crying, and I start crying with him because, of course, I knew the guy, from the company. So I was like, this is bad. I realized at that moment, maybe I was like 21, I realized that eventually that could happen to anybody,
Of course.
even me. So
Of
I
course.
was like in this position. I was
Probably would.
like, exactly. I'm excited. I want to, finish my
You
college.
stay there for 20 years and get 2% raise every
Exactly.
year. Eventually, they're going to
Exactly.
trade you in.
And this can happen to me after all that work. And then I dedicate my life to be, a good employee, coming in, coming out. And this can happen to me because I saw his case. So I was like, nah, I have to do something else. And that's when I opened my first business.
Okay.
So I started,
What was it?
I opened a beauty salon
All right.
with my mom at 21.
All right. So you open up a beauty salon. So you're doing hair.
I was not doing hair. I was an employee.
Yeah.
But I was owner of this business.
Right.
My
You're doing
mom
hair,
was,
nails, the whole
yeah,
thing.
the whole thing. So I had employees and everything. I took some money that I had saved and opened that business with my mom. And it was crazy because then look what happened. I was an employee from 8 to 5. And then I was working in my business after I go out, from maybe 6 that I got there to 9 every day. All my weekends. I didn't have weekend off because the weekends are the best days for a beauty salon.
Of course.
So I was there since the morning till night. Every day I was working in my current job and in my salon. I didn't have time for anything.
Yeah,
Then
no, you can't be dating at this time.
Nothing. No, I was living with, I already had my first daughter.
Okay.
So I was a mom. I barely can see my first daughter. I remember that most of her first years, she was with me at the beauty salon the weekends, the only time that I had left. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, I'm telling you, maybe like 22, 23, I was like, what I'm doing? I'm working like crazy from 6 a.m. that I wake up every day. I go to bed maybe 10, 11 every day, working whole day, working weekends, no day off. I was broke still. I didn't have much money. I was basically living and paying a car that I bought, with the money that I was making at the salon.
Like a lot of people.
So I was like, this can't be. Like, I was like, honestly, it was like a shock for me because I was like.
But did you look around and see any other people who had the life that you wanted, or was everybody else struggling too?
Honestly, everybody was like in that life.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was like living the normal life, till today that happened. People think they don't see outside, so they're not open. And let me tell you something, like I have friends offering me network marketing at that time. I remember neighbor, he was in Amway.
Okay.
So he told me about it and I was like, no. In my mind, I was like, I'm not going to be selling like little products and stuff like that. That was not for me. I thought that it was like, this funny,
lower class.
Yeah, lower class, little business. I was like, nah, that's not for me. I was, a coordinator in human resources with my beauty salon. So I was like, nah, that's not going to happen. So I was there maybe for 2 years. And the honest truth is I was broke.
Mm-hmm.
I was broke. I didn't have time. I was working more. I didn't have money. I didn't have savings. I never traveled or had any vacation. So that's when I realized that I needed to find something else.
So you hit this point and you say, okay, I've got to change something. Because this plan, you didn't see a future.
Exactly.
Where it was going to get better.
Exactly.
It was going to stay that in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people are in that plan where they're like, this is not working.
Exactly.
But what did but most people feel like they don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
So
because
they,
they
they
don't
still
know.
have to take care of their family. They got to take care of their kids. They got to pay the bills. And they just say, well, I guess maybe that's just what I get to do. I get to survive
Exactly.
and make sure that there's a roof over their heads and clothes on their back and food in their bellies and a bed to sleep on and mission
But
accomplished.
even though that was my life, and it looked, it was good compared, right, to most of the people around me, I really had like other dreams. I knew that I had like big
How?
dreams. I just wanted the life. Like I
But a lot
wanted
of
the
people
big
want the life.
house. And
What made you believe that you could have it?
I was always thinking and looking. I was open, like looking for
Other than Amway.
other than the network marketing.
You weren't open to network marketing, but you're open to something else.
Exactly. I was thinking about importing stuff from China,
Mm.
doing a catalog business. I didn't like, Amway, but I was thinking about opening my own catalog business with, baby products and beauty products. So I was looking every day in Alibaba, every night looking for, because I knew that was not the way. I was like, I
There
have
has
to
to be
find
something better.
Exactly. I have to find something else.
So after a couple of years of this, you decide kind of open up your mind and say, I've got to find something.
Exactly.
And you play around with a few things.
Exactly.
You explore this, you explore that. So where do you go next? What's the next stage?
That's what happened when you're open and you decide, right, that you want bigger things. And I just think that things come, right? You attract those things.
Or at least you become aware of them.
Exactly. So the father of my baby, he was in a politic situation.
So you guys were just together for a very short period of time? It was a
he's
quick
the father
relationship?
of 10 years.
10 years relationship?
Yeah. He's the father of my 3 kids.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're no longer together?
No, we're no longer together.
Okay. So 10 years from when to when?
Since I was 18 to 28.
Okay. What was he doing there during this whole time while you were working a million hours?
He was working too. He was his family had a school.
And everybody was still broke. And everybody's still broke.
Yeah, we were broke. We didn't have much money or savings or nothing.
Okay.
He was trying to do something in the politics.
Okay.
At that time, someone was running for president, so he was like, and that's where he met a guy that was working with him in this, and he talked, I don't know if I can mention the company name.
That's fine.
Okay. So he mentioned about Organogold at that time. He mentioned,
coffee.
The coffee business. So he said that someone in the United States, signed him on, blah, blah, blah. They were making a lot of money. It was a good business. So he didn't believe, or he didn't have any interest on the business, but he knew that I had the beauty salon. So he was like, I want to have a good relationship with this person because this person had like a bigger position than him. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to join you. And he bought the bigger package. So he didn't tell me nothing. He just bought the package. And one day he came home with 56 bucks of coffee. And he told me, I remember that was November. And we needed the money for,
Go sell it in the store?
Yeah, he told me, go sell it and keep the money. And I was super mad because that was the money that he was supposed to give me to buy the clothing and stuff for Christmas.
Christmas presents.
So exactly. So he was like, that's, I don't have any other money. That's the money. You sell it and you keep the money. So I remember this big argument. I was like, you're crazy. How you do this to me? I was super mad. But then I didn't have any option. So I was like, let me look for this coffee information so I can sell it because I didn't know anything about the coffee or Gynoderma or nothing. So I remember going on internet, looking for all the information about the coffee, trying to post the coffee on these pages to sell it and also on my store. And voila, I find out the video about the opportunity. I would never forget. I was like, since I saw the first video, I remember it was a very good video that they had. People laughing, these big houses and the cars and the lifestyle. It's not a homes, how they said. I remember it's not a home-based business. It's a phone-based business. And they were so happy and the parties and everything. And I was like, what is this? It was new to me, but I saw a lot of people having fun and having success. And I was like, this is what I want.
So the lifestyle attracted you.
Yeah. the
The
lifestyle.
possibility.
Exactly. And the stories and the things that they were saying.
And social proof. Other people were having success. It was
Exactly.
working.
Exactly. So it was a Friday. I stood the whole weekend seeing videos, testimonies, information about the products, the compensation plan, everything. Call me crazy. Monday, I had this meeting with him, telling him that I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to close the salon and I'm going to do 100% that business without no experience, nothing. When I told him that, he was afraid. He was like,
Sure.
no, you're not going to do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be
Too
rich.
risky.
I already have the plan. I know what I have to do. This is recruitment. That's what I do for, in human resources. This is easy for me. I thought that it was easy for me. I thought that it was, the resume process, just calling the people. So he called his sponsor. They went to my house to try to talk to me, to explain me that was not like I thought it was. I couldn't take
Bad idea.
Exactly. I
He
couldn't.
tried to talk you out of it.
Exactly. Please don't do it. Imagine his sponsor.
Anti-recruiting you.
Exactly. No, that's not like that. Like, that takes time, many years, you need the money, you can close your business. I was like, you don't understand the business. I was ready. I was like, you guys don't understand, right? You never been in network marketing. I thought that I had all my things together. So I didn't really care. I really posed my beauty salon. I was determined. I quit my job. I remember telling my boss, I'm quitting. She was like, why? I was like, I'm going to do this business. I'm going to have a lot of people. I need time to talk to all these people. And she was like, Ana, that's not like that. I have a friend, that she tried something like that. And it's not like how you're going to quit your job many years, whatever. I was like, you know what? I know I'm going to have a big team and I'm not going to have time to really work and, spend time with my people. So I really have to quit. I did it. And then I had the plan with the money that they were going to give me and the money that I was going to sell the beauty salon. I was going to buy all the things that I needed to open a business meeting, a space where I had the salon. That it was like in a space that my mom had in her house. So I bought a new AC, projector, a screen, my thing to put all the coffee, a coffee maker, 15 chairs. And I started calling people, from the page with the resume, calling people to do interviews and doing meetings every day. And it didn't really work. No, people, they didn't really wanted to go to the meeting. It was hard at the beginning because I thought that they were going to go.
Yeah.
Like a normal interview. No. I didn't want to lie to them. So I explained that it was, a business. It was not a job. It was a business. We were starting. I was opening the business, blah, blah, blah. And honestly, nobody showed any interest.
Okay.
At the beginning.
So what changed?
So what changed was I was like, okay, this is not working with the people that I don't know. Let me do a list. Because I started studying. So I built a list, the real deal, my 100 people list. And I started calling people that I knew, my family, friends, and everything. I remember that I invited to my first meeting like 50 people. I called everybody, confirmed everybody. I had my forms, everything ready, coffee done, everything. And I invited, because I was not ready to give the presentation, I invited someone else that I knew that he was in the business in the country, so he can support me to give the presentation. So, the sponsors went, everything. But from the 50 people, only went a friend of mine from work that she went just to support me, not because she was interested. She was my friend. And my sister. So she went.
That was it.
That was it.
2 out of 50 showed up.
2 out of 50. But I was happy because after
maybe
the meeting,
the rest of them showed up, but they showed up on island time. It was like 2 hours later and you'd already left.
No, but honestly, a lot of those people, I follow up with them and they ended up.
One by one.
Yeah, they ended up.
What happened with the 2 people?
So my friend, she joined in the smallest package because she felt bad about me because she knew all my work. So she was like, I'm going to join you, but she didn't really do much. My sister joined me. She was working. So she was like, you know what I'm going to do? I don't have the money. Yeah.
There's a sister sitting in our studio.
Yeah.
Hi. Somebody has to be first.
Exactly. So the funny thing, she was working and she was like, I don't have the money, but I'm going to quit too. And with the money that they give me, I'm going to join with all the money. Like I want to join in the second package. So long story short, she did the same thing. She quit. She joined like a week after. She had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend joined, and they became diamonds in that company because she had this boyfriend. He had a lot of connections, friends, and it was crazy. He brought a lot of people. But like I told you, I had this meeting space. So what I used to do, I used to call everybody every day, trying to get them to go to the meeting.
Come take a look.
Exactly. And I didn't have a exact time, honestly. It was like, if you come first, I give you the presentation. So I used to give like 10, 20 presentations a day. I don't even know. And if I didn't have any confirmations, I used to go out and go to, my friends' offices. Like, at what time you have lunch? 1. So can I go and bring you some coffee? Yes, sure. So I used to go with my laptop and just playing the business. So I did I did my work. I did the old school work. Not now, like the live. And, people think it was easy. 10 years ago, 11 years ago. No, I'm talking 13 years ago. Yeah. It was not easy at all.
So that company had a good run and then ran into some different problems. Yeah. Had some challenges. Mm-hmm. So how long were you with the company?
1 year. I grew a lot. I was Blue Diamond there. I moved 1 million points in volume in 1 year. Made like $500,000 in my first year in network marketing. Second year,
what did you do with all that money?
Don't ask.
You spent it all?
Yeah, I moved to a penthouse, bought a Porsche Cayenne, bought Louboutin bags, travel.
Went bananas.
Exactly. And zero financial intelligence. Not only me,
Of course. When you're young. That's when you're supposed to make mistakes.
Exactly. And I thought that it was going to be forever. And so So
they had that first big year. Everything boomed.
Yeah.
Second year. What was your husband saying during this process?
No, he was working with me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was working.
So second year, what happened?
Everything started falling apart. And that was my first love. I didn't want to jump out of the boat. Like, I was like, I'm gonna sink. I'm gonna stay. Big mistake. If I have to give an advice to someone, like at that moment, I was very loyal to the company that changed my life. And I had a great team. That's the truth. I prefer them to go and split and go different ways and, go to different companies instead of me as a leader taking a decision that it was good for everybody.
Here's my advice when it comes to stay or go, when it gets hard. If you believe that the company's going to figure it out, ultimately, then I think it's almost always better to stay.
Yeah, totally.
If you believe, if you're not convinced that the company's going to figure it out, or if there's integrity problems at the top, or there's ownership problems or those types of things, which there was in that particular case, then you have to search your own conscience. Once you're at that level, you kind of know. Yeah. You kind of know, is there a future here or not? Yeah. And so I think in today's world, people jump a little too fast. As soon as it becomes, they jump in when there's momentum, and as soon as it becomes work, they're like, well, I got to go find something else because this became hard. Yeah. Sometimes you have to go through the hard.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Sometimes you have to, the hard is important. Yeah. Every single company has problems. You just got to figure out which company you're going to have your problems with.
Exactly.
Right? So long as you believe that they're going to figure it out ultimately, it's okay for them to not have it perfect. Yeah. To make mistakes.
Yeah. And I now I understand that, but at that time, 1 year in the industry, and honestly, it's like you're saying, I had serious problems in my country.
Sure.
Yeah. I had like some, crazy problems in my country. I never had any support, any cold, any support.
Probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
Because I grew a lot from the experience.
Were there any issues with you making that kind of money in where you lived, as far as safety is concerned, and people understanding how much you were making and you becoming a target?
It is still today.
Still today.
Yeah, still today.
So you got to be very careful.
I have to be very careful. I
your
cannot
children have
show
to be
up.
Careful.
Yeah, I live actually 2 hours from the city, in
Mm-hmm.
the safest area. You know, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of security. It's called Casa de Campo,
Mm-hmm.
which you should visit.
Yeah.
Very nice. It's basically a villa place. Villas, you know, we have a marina, the beach is very nice, very expensive too, very
Mm-hmm.
exclusive, but it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel safe there. You
Yeah.
know, that's the main reason why I moved there. two
No,
hours
I know.
away from the city.
The only reason I say it, I know a lot of top earners, in different, let's call it developing countries
Mm-hmm.
where people are poor,
Yeah.
or the economy's bad.
Mm-hmm.
If you're making a lot of money and it's talked about
Mm-hmm.
and it's bragged about,
It is.
somebody's going to show up at your house at 3 a.m,
Mm-hmm.
with masks on
Mm-hmm.
to be able to try and get that money.
Exactly.
So I just find it fascinating. I mean, I think we take for granted the security we have
Mm-hmm.
in some of the developed countries,
Totally.
to be able to have protection
Yeah.
and to be able to talk about
Mm-hmm.
our
Totally.
lifestyle.
Totally. For example, even though I will want, like, I can tell you, like, I want to have a Bravos, or I want to have a Rolls Royce, and I can buy it,
Yeah.
but I can't have it. It's going to be a target. Everybody,
Because if you drive it around that town,
exactly, everybody will know that is me.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Somebody's going to follow you home.
Maybe. So I have security. I move around with security all the time. I have, a Suburban, black Suburban. That the only nice car that I can have, is my G-Wagon. And it's because there's a lot, there's a few there. It's not that flashy. But like me getting my G, for example, pink. No, I'm a
Be
target.
careful.
Like,
Right,
that's
right,
Ana
right,
right there.
right.
So there's things that I can and I cannot do, even though
Yeah.
I have the money. That
Even-
I
even-
always
yeah,
say.
well,
if
even when I travel into some countries,
Mhm.
I don't wear certain watches, and I have
Exactly.
different luggage
Exactly.
in certain, when I
Smart.
go to certain places.
Yes.
You don't bring the fancy stuff.
No.
You don't wear the fancy jewelry.
Mm-mm.
You just
Chill.
chill it
Normal.
down a little bit,
Exactly.
and also make sure you have security.
Mm-hmm.
So
Everywhere.
even if nobody knows, but they're there.
Everywhere. The other day I saw on internet someone that said that it was kind of awkward, a top leader going to a convention of the company with security. I didn't make any comment, but I was like, no, if you're in Latin America, it doesn't matter who you are. You have to bring security
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like when I go on tours, that's
Yeah,
the
people
first
think
thing.
you're being a diva when you do that. You're just
No.
being intelligent.
No, because they expose you to sell you. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
bring people to the business, they tell everybody who you are, how much you make. You never know who's there.
No,
Yeah, there's a lot of
I remember the
guests.
first time I went to Nigeria,
Mm.
and this was, I don't know, gosh, 10, 15 years ago. And so I do my homework online, and it showed like 1,500, Americans had been kidnapped the year before, held for ransom. So I get there. So I don't wear my watches. I have the rattiest luggage I can find. I'm dressed down, super casual, super chill. They tell me they have security. Fine, wonderful. But still, I'm nervous, right? And then they have billboards because I'm coming to town.
Oh my God.
I'm on like benches, and I'm on side signs on the side of the road, and I'm up on billboards. Here's this white
funny.
American millionaire coming to speak at such and such a hotel
Oh my
at such
God.
and such a time. So I'm like, oh, this is not good.
No.
And they didn't tell me that the electricity goes out in that country about every 45 minutes. It just goes out.
Oh my God.
So I'm doing the first presentation, and the electricity goes out. And I'm like, oh, here they're coming. They're coming to get me.
This is it.
This is it. It ended up being the most beautiful experience ever, because the Nigerian people are just kings and queens and amazing and
Yeah.
spectacular and awesome people. And I was safe the whole way. But your imagination,
Yeah.
I think you need to be careful sometimes. One of my neighbors is is one of the daughters of the Walmart family.
Mm-hmm.
So Sam Walton's daughter lives a mile away from my house. And you should see the security. Because, I mean, she's one of the richest women in the world.
Wow.
It's like 4 levels of security from the front, from the sidewalk into inside the house. It's the price you pay, I guess. I mean,
it is, but it's like
I'd rather pay that price than
exactly. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Or, I'd rather be in that situation and pay that price that something happened to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's better.
Yeah,
it's like I'm saying, I'm used to it. I already got used to it.
Yeah.
And I prefer that than being, like you said, in a difficult situation. So
no, God, that would be the worst.
It's okay.
All right. So you run into struggle
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately you decide it's over.
It is. Yeah.
With that
everybody,
company.
yeah. After everybody left, I ended up depressed.
Now that company, by the way, is still going.
Yeah, it's still going.
It's smaller than it was. It's still going with different owners.
Yeah.
Those types of things.
Yeah,
But
never closed.
the
It
big
was
charismatic leaders, that started it, went on to do other things. So you've now eaten from the tree of good and evil.
Mm.
You have now tasted what $500,000 feels like.
Mm-hmm.
You now have a penthouse that you probably can't afford,
Mm-hmm.
and cars that you probably can't afford,
Mm-hmm.
and your kids are in school you probably can't afford,
Mm-hmm.
and you got a bunch of nice clothes that you already bought, so
Okay.
you might as well wear those.
Okay.
Right?
Exactly what you're saying.
Okay, so you have to figure something out.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do network marketing again.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
That was my...
What did you think? What did you think you were going to do?
I was devastated because my thing was not only that the
You were embarrassed that you brought all these people in and it didn't work out? Or?
It was a big scandal in my country. I was in news. I was in with reporters after me because I grew a lot. It was a big boom with the business.
And
a lot of
when
people
the company
making
did bad,
money.
they blamed you.
Of course.
Fine.
It was like they were saying that it was a pyramid and I was a scammer. And I was in every news and reporters
Which
and everything.
Of course wasn't true.
No, and I was 23. I was too young. You know what I mean? Like, and I was in all this mix. I was feeling very bad, not only because all the external situation, but also internal situation because my leaders and my team that I used to love and help, and we were so happy making this money. Now they're judging me, going to other companies, talking about me, trying to take all the people to other opportunities. And at that time,
So what were you going to do? If it wasn't going to be network marketing, what were you going to do that could replace this money?
I went back to traditional business.
How is that going to pay the bills?
I lost everything. I lost my apartment. I lost my cars. I ended up with no car. I ended up living in the same basic first house that it was not even my house. It was a house that the father of my kids, basically, how do you say? Not even rented. She gave to us to live, there for free, of course. So from my big penthouse to a little house, 2 bedrooms, I already have 3 kids. Like you said, I already experienced the good life, but I was blocked. I gained 60 pounds. I was 184 pounds. So
60 pounds.
Yeah, my whole.
You're itty bitty. How is that even possible?
I was super fat, super overweight. I didn't feel good about myself.
I didn't think you were ever fat. I think you were curvier.
Okay. No, I was chubby. Yeah, it was bad. I looked, if I see the pictures now of me at that time, trust me, I'm not the same person. So
you're not the same person when I met you.
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah, I've changed and transformed a lot. But imagine, no money, a lot of debt. Not only the money, and that I lost a lot of things. Remember, I had this lifestyle, so I ended up with a lot of debt.
Your debt plus reputation plus
all
being judged by your neighbors,
being the social media at that time, the reporters. So I was like, you know what?
You're working a job.
Huh?
And so you decide to go get a job.
No, I decide to ask for a loan and ask for help to my mom again. And we all opened a restaurant.
Okay.
So
What kind
I
of
was
restaurant?
I was selling food for companies. So lunch. So they used to order the food, and we used to take the food to the offices and stuff like that. So it was like for businesses, an
Like
amount of
catering
like
kind of.
catering, exactly. And at night at the same place, we had a grill,
Mm-hmm.
like a grill business. So I used to work, imagine, wake up at 5, 6 a.m. in the morning every day because I needed to have everything ready like 10 a.m.
When
in the
was
morning.
this?
We started 20 at the beginning of 2015,
Okay.
2015.
Got it.
So
So
from
8 years ago.
yeah, so 2014, I tried different stuff. I was, already in the mix. I
What year
saw
are we? 2023 or 24?
24.
Are we 24 now?
Yeah, we're 24.
So 24. So 9 years ago. Sorry.
Exactly, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So 2014, it was the worst year of my life. I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to, try to do it, try to see what's going to happen, even with the other business. Didn't work. So then I decided at the end of 2014, I'm sorry, that I was going to open that business. And I started that business with my mom. And I was like, not a hater of network marketing. I just thought that it was not good. Like I convinced
There was
myself.
too many consequences that were negative to you,
Exactly. Because not only what
even though
happened,
the money was there.
not only about that company, at that time, it was a lot going on with Telex Free. It was that year.
Yeah, there was a bunch of pop and drop companies that,
Exactly.
and there always is. I mean, after you've been around for a while,
Mm-hmm.
like under 100 million in sales, I kind of call it Game of Thrones. It's just people, are always trying to win the throne back and forth, and all these little battles and all these little
Mm-hmm.
skirmishes and wars, and everybody's telling lies and stabbing each other in the back, and
Yeah.
little
It's crazy.
battles, right?
Mhm.
And this one has the magical juice, and this one has a magical service, and this one has magical berries, and this
The
one
best
has
comp plan.
a magical comp plan, or a magical leader or system or something. And then there's those that, build real businesses,
Mhm.
and they go beyond that. And then they have their struggles from 100 to 300 million. Then kind of 300 million plus, it starts to become a different game.
Yeah.
500 million, much different game. Billion. I think there's 27 companies now that are doing over $1 billion in sales, something
Amen.
like that, maybe more. So then it's a way different game,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you were like you were in the little pop and drop Game of Thrones land,
Mm-hmm.
where
Seeing
everybody
all
was
this.
stabbing each other in the back, and betrayal and drama,
Mm-hmm.
and
Exactly.
rise and fall of incomes. And
Exactly. So I convinced myself to think that it was not good.
Mm,
So I was like, I don't want to be part of that. And
okay. Who convinced you? Who was able to get past your shield, your guard, and say,
So true story.
take another look?
I opened up the business at the beginning of the year. The business was not doing good. Remember, I had a lot of situation.
Sure.
Everybody was leaving from that business. Even my mom, again, my sister was working with me. Everybody was like there. And it was very difficult, financial situation, to the point that I was not sending my kids to school. I didn't have basically not even sometimes money to do groceries. We were eating from the same business. It was very hard. So I was like in a very bad
You
depression.
get sick of your own food when you're in the restaurant business. don't
Yeah.
you?
Crying every night, broke, not having a car, not having money. It was crazy. So I remember that one day I woke up, and I had 3 babies.
Mm-hmm.
1 year, 2 year, 4-year-old. I'm
Mhm.
talking about 3 babies, Pampers, milk, everything. The 3 of them, they drink a special milk, not like a normal milk. And it was like maybe $50 the can. So I woke up, my babies are crying. I went to see, we don't have milk, we have to buy milk. We didn't have the money to buy milk. And I remember like seriously, like I was like, what? No, we don't have the money to go buy the milk. I remember going to my mom, asking her for the $50 from the money of the business that we were barely surviving. And I was like, I need milk. I went, bought the milk. And I remember going in my room and crying. I was like, crying. Like I didn't know what else to do. I was like, I felt bad mom, irresponsible, a failure. I didn't know what to do with my life. I felt like all these emotions, and I was like in the darkest place of my life. I remember going on my knees, true story, and asking God for an opportunity. Like I was like, I need to change. I knew at that time that I couldn't do it if I stayed at the restaurant. And I'm gonna be honest, maybe network marketing was not in my mind at that time. I just needed an opportunity. I needed something else. I knew that I had to do it, for me, for my family, for my kids, for everybody around me, because we were all very bad in not only financially, even emotionally.
Sure.
So I remember that moment, and I really believe till today that moment changed the game for me, because I remember going and writing down. I took a pen and a paper after that moment, and that night I started writing down all the things that I had to achieve that year. That was the beginning of 2015. So I was like, I need to move. I need I need to, my kids and the money, and I need this kind of money, and I need to be making this. And I remember like focusing, because I already knew I was in the, personal development industry, let's say, because network marketing has a lot to do with it. And I knew that I had to change my mindset. And from that moment, 2 days after, a friend that he was in network marketing, never worked with me before, never. He was in another company, but he knew me from that company, and we created a relationship. He went to the restaurant to see me and just like, eat there and talk to me. And I remember serving his food. We didn't have a lot of people in the restaurant. It was not, you know what I mean? It was not doing good. Right. So I remember sitting down with him and just having a conversation. And he told me that he felt kind of awkward seeing me being the leader that I was, serving plate at that restaurant. So he touched my ego at that moment. He was like, he killed me right there. He was like, it's very awkward knowing that you were the Ana Cantera, on stage and with this big team and the leader and all the great things you did. And now you're like serving plates at this restaurant. So I told him, I was like, I don't really, I've seen all the stuff, but I don't want to go back. And we start having the conversation, and he mentioned the company that I am today. He told me it has great products, which it was good for me, because I know what was the main issue with the first company that I was in. We didn't have a really sales-driven business. It was all about recruitment. Yeah. So I understood that I need to have good products in order to create a residual income in a long term. Correct. He told me that he had a very good compensation plan, and people were making money selling the product, which I didn't have before, because we didn't really make a lot of money selling the product. So he told me, it's a 50%. People just selling the product make good money. The crazy thing, he was not in the company. He saw the opportunity, and he thought that it fit for me. He thought that it was a good fit for me. He wasn't in the company. He was not in the company. So this is where it changed everything. He told me, and he had experience. He told me, I'm going to send you information. Why was he not in the company? He was doing something else. Huh. He was doing something else, but what he was doing, I was not interested. He was in another company. I see. I didn't like the company he was in. So he mentioned, since that's not a candidate, exactly. Here's something you should look at. Exactly. I'm going to send you. This is good. And he told me, if you decide to join, I'm going to join with you. That's what everything changed. Because remember, I lost my team. Right. And I lost my confidence, and I lost everything. And I was a year, from the industry. So I knew that he was a good leader, So in my mind, I was like, he trusts me. He still trusts in me. So that's where everything changed. Because I was like, I'm going to see the company, and I'm going to see if it's a fit for me. Were they building in DR at the time? Or were you in DR? Or were we? I've always been in DR. Yeah. So the company was building there? They had like a little office, but not even the name. The name was not even in the back office at that time. Yeah, okay. It was not. But they started like a little, like not for resale type of thing. Exactly. So I went. I saw the video. I liked it. I was like, okay, I like this. I saw everything, and I decided to look for a sponsor. And that's where I started looking for the people that were doing great things. And I looked for Stormy Wellington,
Mm-hmm.
my sponsor. I looked what she was doing. I looked, she already, at that time, I think that she made $1 million in 7 months. So I was surprised about, her story, her testimony. And I actually contact Stormy. I text her and I called her. And I was like maybe 3 days after her. And I remember a friend in common gave me her personal number. And that's where I called her. And, I asked her about the opportunity.
Mm. Hey there, just a quick interruption, especially for network marketers. Whether you're just starting out or if you're ready to level up, GoPro Academy has just what you need to take your network marketing business to the next level. Get step-by-step training on how to get started or restarted the right way, and then get everything you need to earn 6 figures or more and become a network marketing pro. To learn more, just visit goproacademy.com. I've helped millions of people learn how to recruit, tens of thousands of people to reach 6 figures, and I've personally helped more than 1,000 people achieve 7-figure incomes and above in network marketing. I can help you too. Head to goproacademy.com today, and I'll see you there. So this was when?
May 2015.
May 2015. Okay, so you make this decision, you join with Stormy, and you're kind of, when I think of you guys as a group of very powerful women and powerful men, but really this nucleus of women that are glamorous and strong and resilient and tough, So Stormy's tough.
I think we learned. That's what I was gonna say. I think at some point you start learning or modeling a lot of the personality of your mentor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she has a lot to do with the way that we show up.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Well, as you know, she and I have become close friends, and
Yes.
we've had a lot of long conversations about, what's the line of being strong and also developing other leaders.
Yeah.
She
did a lot for me.
Sure, of course.
A lot.
She's done a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Even people that aren't in her company and aren't in her team.
Yeah.
Just her example, her story, everything else, her authenticity, same as yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you make this decision, you get involved. Did your sister get involved with you with this one? Not this time.
Not this time. Nobody, not even everybody around me was
they said, "Are you kidding? You're going to do this again?
Again, you crazy? You sell coffee, now you're going to sell tea? You crazy?" Everybody turned their back on me. Even the father of my kids, he didn't want to do TLC. He didn't want to do the business. No.
So, but you said, "I'm doing it.
I'm doing it." I'm very determined when I take a decision.
So you make this decision. You say you're going to do it. So walk me through the first few years. What happens?
So, when I joined, I wanted to give Stormy a good impression of me because I know the importance of having a mentor and having a leader with the results next to you. So you know that you can't pay that. You have to work that. You have to work through, right? So I knew that I need to start growing fast because I wanted to attract her attention. Mm-hmm. She was in her move. She had her movement. She was, going around. She never really had a Latino team outside of United States team. So it was new for her. And at the same time, it was new for me because I was not that good in English at that time. So I barely understand her and talk to her. I was not that fluent. So it was complicated.
You've done amazing with that, by the way.
Thank you.
Because, I'm American, so that's all we speak is English. For most of us, we're pretty lazy that way. I'm so grateful that it's like the business language around the world, English. Thank God, because I don't know what I would do. But your English is amazing.
I've with the years, I think I've been getting better and better, talking to her especially.
I'm sure you can express yourself a little bit more forcefully if you were speaking in Spanish right now.
Of course.
So thank you for, making the exception and doing it in English. But
And by the way, let me tell you, this is my first ever interview.
Really?
So this is very special.
Oh, fun.
Never had an interview before. This is my first time.
Fun,
Even
fun,
though
fun.
people invite me, I'm like, but this is gonna be good.
Yeah. So first couple years, what happens?
So I joined. I
You
remember.
want to impress her.
I remember that she said we're gonna do a launching call. Please, try to connect the most people that you can. Blah blah blah. Remember, my circle and my friends and everybody that knew about my first company and all the scandal, I didn't want to talk to them, but even though I wanted to know that I was going to do it again. So I really contact them, send them messages, but I knew in my heart.
You're probably not going to do this, but I just want you to know I'm doing it anyway.
I was not counting with them because I knew that I was in my darkest. They were not going to believe, whatever. So I was like, I have to bring a lot of people to this launching call. How I'm going to do it? So I started prospecting. I took my Facebook at that time, was the only thing I had. And I remember adding my 5,000 friends. Remember that you had only a limit,
Max.
5,000 friends. And I remember sending messages to the 5,000 friends before that launching call. I connect maybe 15 people to the call. And it was a very successful call. She did a great job, as usual. People got excited. And I remember that my first week, I signed up maybe 10 people. And I became director, which is the first rank in my first week. I start from there, giving presentations every day. I was crazy about presenting. I was sending messages, maybe 200 messages. When I finished with my first Facebook and all the groups, I started adding myself to groups in Facebook. I opened up a new Facebook because I was like, okay, this is old. I remember adding 5,000 new friends and sending messages and prospecting and posting things every day and talking to people. At that time, like I said, it was only Facebook. That was my resource. But I was like really paying the price and doing the work.
Was
and
it mostly
presenting.
DR or was it other countries as well?
In DR, I didn't want to really work. I had this thing that I was not into, that's the girl from what happened. So I was looking people from outside. And at the moment, Colombia and Ecuador, the company was more stable at that time. So those were my first markets because I started recruiting and prospecting and sending messages to those people in those markets first.
Where are your biggest markets now?
Colombia, Paraguay, Ecuador, DR. I can say the United States. A lot of Latinos in the United States.
Okay.
A little bit everywhere.
Okay.
I have a lot of ambassadors.
How many countries now?
Maybe almost 30.
Yeah,
nice. I have people in Europe, all the islands, basically all Latin America, all the countries, Argentina, Brazil, everywhere, Paraguay, everywhere.
Love it.
Like last year, I went to 12 different countries on a tour.
Nice.
And this year, I'm going to
Going in as the queen.
Huh?
Going in as the queen.
Kind of.
Right?
The queen of hearts of my team, yeah.
Going in and to be the show.
Yeah.
Nice. So you work your butt off.
Very hard presentations, a lot of presentations, a lot of social media, a lot of messages. I remember opening also a presentation in my business. Remember, I had the restaurant. So I was giving presentations every day at 8 from Monday to Monday, every day. Didn't have a big team, but I was already talking to people and attracting some people also in DR. And I started that way. I became executive, which is the second run in my first month. I became regional the second month, and I became the fastest Latino national in the company in 90 days and making over $20,000 a month.
$20,000 a month after 90 days.
Yeah.
Now what were your family saying?
A whole different perspective. Yeah, a whole different. They didn't join. But
I understand. They'll say, good for you. You got lucky, whatever.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Exactly. But I gained, again, some, confidence and respect. Because they were like, okay, she's going to do it again. Yeah.
Okay. So by the end of the first year, where are you at?
I made $1 million in 13 months. And I was a global.
So I'll ask the same question. I think I probably know the answer. What'd you do with that money?
I pay debt.
Yep.
And I save it.
Nice.
And I save it. I was kind of afraid my first year.
Sure.
That it was going to happen to me again.
So you paid your debts off. Or
Of course,
down.
organize my life,
Got
my
your
kids
life
back to
organized.
school. I
Right.
bought a Kia, $10,000. I didn't want to buy fancy cars.
Right.
And I start saving because I had a goal. I wanted to buy, and of course, I invest a lot of money in the business because I
course.
was traveling,
Sure.
building promotions and stuff. But the main thing, I wanted to buy my first house cash because I never had, my own house. And I already experienced being, kicked out from the apartment and my kids and everything. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to work hard and I'm going to buy my first house, first house.
So that's what you did?
Yeah. I bought my first house the next year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first, walk me through the first 5 years. Take me up to pandemic.
Okay. So basically opening, expanding, organizing. I'm a lot about systems. And I'm going to tell you, I learned a lot from GoPro book. That's like the main thing in my business. I start watching the GoPro events also online. It was a dream for me because I remember like dreaming one day I'm going to be there. Remember these big events, 10,000 people. You remember at that time, it was huge. Now you do more online stuff, but at the moment it was the big dream
changed.
of every networker in the world is, be at GoPro stage. So I remember just like learning, compromising myself to.
When was the first time you were on the stage?
2018 as in the Hall of Fame. I received from you and Marina my statue.
Where's that? At the MGM Garden Arena?
It was here in Las Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. So during this period of time, you're now making money. Now the Birkin bags are flowing again.
No, I didn't have Birkin bags.
No? That was a stormy thing?
No, that was after the pandemic when everything got crazy. At the beginning, it was everything about, I bought my house, I bought my, nice truck, I save, I invest.
Yeah.
Everything changed for me financially. That experience teach me a lot.
Yeah.
So I was not into the fancy things and all of that. I was really organizing
into security.
My kids, my security.
How old are your
everything.
kids now?
My kids are 10, 11, and 14.
Wow. Fun ages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And 3 girls, so it's very fun.
Yeah, my gosh, super fun.
So working a lot.
Are they stealing your clothes yet?
Huh?
Are they stealing your clothes yet?
Yes.
Yeah?
They are. They're bigger than me a little bit. They're taller than me right now. Yeah, so I'm like, I have a year dealing with the situation already. It's fun. Yeah, it is fun.
Super fun. All right, so pandemic comes and there's a big spike.
Exactly. So
everybody's working from home and everybody's looking for opportunity.
Yeah.
So everything goes a little bit crazy and everybody thinks it's forever.
Yeah.
And everybody gets a little spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah.
As to
working digital,
how easy it is
online.
to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Very difficult.
So was that your peak earning years then? Or
I can say that I had a very solid, stable business. In my mind, I was making 6 figures, or near to. But in pandemic, yeah, it was like crazy. I was making 6 figures a week.
Wow.
In pandemic. So it got crazy. Like I attract a lot of people. We opened a lot of markets. We couldn't travel, but I understood when everything started like going up. I was like, okay, we have 2 options here, or everything is gonna fall apart because everybody was like kind of scared. And I told my team, I was like, because remember we were building in the old way, the meetings, house to house, the weekly meetings, blah blah blah. That's what I learned. That's what I teach. So when everything closed, everybody was kind of scared, and I had this conversation with them. We have 2 options. We cannot do what we used to do. So we have to adapt very fast, and we have to work very hard to take the team to the digital marketing. Like everything going.
You were already
digital.
kind of doing things online.
Yeah, but it was.
But you had to teach the team how to do it.
Exactly, and it was little. Not everybody was into it, and we didn't have everything like organized.
Really?
You know what I mean? No, not that much. I was more.
I always viewed you guys as kind of leading the field when it came to online stuff.
The thing is, remember, in Latin America, it was kind of different. Maybe you saw more stormy here that she's big
You
on
know, I
marketing
buy
and
that.
social
I
media.
buy that. I buy that. I mean, it in the Latin markets, a lot more face to face.
It was a lot until that time.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So you have to convince everybody. All right, we have to pivot.
Yeah. So we organize, recreate the system, we organize everything. And I have to say that they adapt very hard. We work very
They
hard.
adapted very quickly to that stuff, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
But when pandemic was over, they
It-
did not adapt back.
They didn't want to go back.
They didn't want to go back to face.
No.
And the online stuff didn't work the same
Mm-mm.
because people got a little tired of it.
Exactly. And people got out of
Yeah.
their houses and social media.
So people got out and they were looking to do other things. So there was for what happened to almost all companies is there was this big spike during pandemic. Everybody's looking to work from home. And then afterwards starts this decline
Mm-hmm.
because the leaders developed some bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were so cool. They thought they were so amazing. They thought it was all about them, that they reinvented network marketing, and they all thought they were geniuses.
Mm-hmm.
And when things started to drop, instead of adapting like you did when you went into pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't adapt back.
Mm-mm.
They just started blaming.
Exactly.
They started getting into fights with each other. They started blaming the company, blaming the products. There's all kinds of drama.
It looks like you were there.
There was mean girls everywhere. There was, you had to pick which side you were on.
It was crazy.
You're going to support this side. You're going to support that side. And it was like back to high school again.
Mm-hmm.
Because in good times, people don't really develop themselves very much.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't feel like they have to.
Exactly.
So when bad times come,
Mm-hmm.
they're not prepared
No.
to be able to handle it. So you go from 100,000 a week to how far down does it drop before you start rebuilding again?
100 a month.
From 100 a week to 100 a month.
It went down. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's not a lot of people listening to this that are going to cry for you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, poor thing. You went down to $100,000 a month. Oh, it's so terrible. I don't know how you managed. But they don't understand
No.
what you and I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Once you've tasted something, I saw this stand-up routine with Chris Rock. Do you know who he is, the comedian?
Yeah.
He said, women don't go backwards in lifestyle.
Mm-mm.
They only go up.
It's true.
So
We don't know how to go back.
We don't know how to go backwards. They only go up. So, and I think that's, from my observation, that's true. So how did you handle going from 100 a week to 100 a month? Because emotionally, that means people who were making 100 a month were now making 20 a month.
That's the hard thing.
And the people who were making 20 a month were now making 4 a month.
Mm-hmm.
People making 4 a month were now making 1 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you manage that?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you find the strength? Because I know you're back into a major building mode again.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take to get back to major building mode? After the kind of, I would call it post-pandemic dysfunction.
You know that, let me say, like 2 years ago, I understood exactly what you're saying about people getting comfortable and not wanting to work. And I start telling them, like, this is not, because I understand. I was like, this is not going to work
But
like
they weren't
this.
listening.
No, I train and I talk and I was doing leadership retreats and talking about it. But all the pandemials, like
Pandemials.
that's how I call them.
That's
pandemials.
so right.
The pandemials, which was, all the people that joined and learned and grew, they didn't understand. And a lot of people ended up quitting, or like you said before, leaving to other companies thinking like, this is not working anymore.
Easier.
It's going to be easier. So I try to explain them like network marketing is a relationship business and you have to build that relationship. And even though they don't like it, you cannot build that relationship through a Zoom or just like a call. Like you have to.
It's a little bit. It's a mix, isn't it?
It's a mix. It's
You've
a
got to
big mix.
use technology to reach more people, but then build real relationships with those people.
And leadership, if I can tell you my leadership, which are all amazing, I have a relationship with each of them. You know, I've spent time with them. They have spent time with me. We have had conversations. I listen to them. You know, they listen to me. So I think that it has a lot to do with their mindset, the way they think, the way they dream, the way they do things. And I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but it's very hard to do that when it's just, you know, online.
Yeah, you have to learn to find the balance.
Exactly.
Get the scale plus the high touch.
Exactly. So I had to really like get into their mind, explaining.
So
them.
you started that in 2022. You recognized it and saw it, started talking about it.
Nobody did it.
No. How long did it? Was it like 2023 when it started? Back up?
When I decide to go out. When I decide to do
No, yeah, because here's the thing that I've noticed is everybody kind of crossed their fingers and waited for it to come back after pandemic. Even the top leaders, they're just waiting for it. It's got to come back. You know, I mean, we got all these people, and it's got to come back. There's these haters over there, you know, and that's a distraction. Or there's this other company that's creating short-term problems. But company needs to change the comp plan, or we need a different flavor of product, or you know. So there was some blame going on for a while. But then everybody, I would say, in the last 18 months, really the last 12 months, said, for things to change, I have to change. I've got to go back to what works. I got to put my work clothes back on. I got to go back to doing presentations. I got to go back to face. I got to get in front of my people. I have to do it. I can't tell them to do it, because what ended up happening after pandemic is top leaders tried to tell people what to do for about 2 years and nobody would listen. And then they said, I guess I'm going to have to do it. And they did it themselves. And that's what inspired the other leaders to start to go to work. You still lost some. There's a whole bunch that went all over back into Game of Thrones, you know, and all these other little, you know, startups and other promises and magic pills and
exactly.
magic services and whatever it happens to be. A lot of people spread out all over the place, but the ones that stayed, they watched what you were doing, not what you were saying.
Exactly.
And once you changed what you were doing, then they started changing what they were doing.
Exactly.
Then they started to listen.
Exactly.
Then the training meant something.
Exactly.
So would you say about a year ago, there was a big flip?
So, yeah. So I have like this 90-day, I do 4 90-day runs in my team. So I have everything is organized. Everybody already know. First 90 days we work, and first 90 days, they qualify for a leadership retreat. So 2022, I did the leadership retreat. Everybody was there. I explained them. We train about going back, the home meetings, how to do the presentations, everything. Because we know that we had this problem with all these people, right? Then 90 days is like a tour that we do internationally. My leaders they go, you know, country to country. Everybody goes into their country, city to city, blah, blah, blah. So they try to kind of do that, but not was very successful because, again, people were not into the promoting events thing or the tour.
No, and not as many people were showing up, and you had to deal with that.
Exactly.
You know, you used to have 1,000 people. Now you had 80.
The bad feeling of this is not going, you know, like it used to.
It's not like it was. People had a hard time letting go of their peak. The peak attendance, they have a hard, or their peak check. They really had a hard time.
No, and the comparison, because they were like, we're working, we're out, we're doing the meetings, we're spending money, time, effort.
Where's the money? Where's the growth?
Exactly. And then they were comparing, like we were making more money in our houses without doing really, you know, all this work.
Yeah, they didn't realize it's hard. It's hard to realize that was a bubble.
They tried it, but they wanted to go back, and they didn't see the building factor behind it, right? So 90 days
First
again,
90 days.
Exactly. Leadership, then the tour, then 90 days, the convention. I had a convention in the Dominican Republic. it was not very successful like I
When
wanted
was this?
it to. It was October 2022.
Okay.
Okay. It was good.
It's
You know,
okay.
like 3,000
Something.
people, something. But
That's not bad.
yeah, but not like, we're used to it. So, I was kind of what I'm going to do because I knew not even the convention they were promoting anymore. So for 2023, I was like, okay, I have to do my thing. Like I have to really like go and teach them. And it was like a crazy year for me because I was traveling twice a month to different countries. I did this big tour, yearly tour, where I went to almost
You're like
every
Taylor
single
Swift.
country. Almost every single country. I was traveling, like I told you, like a weekend home with my kids and a weekend off the whole year. I did this crazy agenda. So I compromise everything. I'm going to the country. We have to organize the event. We have to promote the event. We have to, the rooms, like teaching all these people, even people that never had an event before or a physical experience, how to do their first event, how to go out and promote an event because I was going. So now a lot of pressure was on the table because they were like, Ana is coming. They knew they cannot have 15 people.
That's like you with your first Zoom with Stormy.
Exactly. So I was personally coordinating these events with every single leader in the country and making them, having expectations.
So you did this in 2023.
Yeah.
For the year.
That for the whole year. And
How many leaders did it with you? Did it at your pace? Any?
I think that from there, a lot of people they started like also doing it.
When did they start? How long after you started did they start?
Maybe middle of the year.
Okay. So you had to go for like 6 months by yourself, doing everything again. And it's very difficult to resist this thing that crawls in our heads that says, I shouldn't have to do this. I paid the price. I did this already.
Exactly.
Why do I have to go do this again? Do I have to do this forever? You start having these limiting beliefs that is it ever going to end? Because we get told build it once, have it for forever. It's not true.
That's not true.
Not
true at all.
You build and you rebuild, and that's what you do. So it took you about 6 months of doing things that other people were not willing to do and pushing the rock uphill.
Exactly.
And then slowly, some other people started to say, okay, if she's going to do it, I'm going to do it now.
And learning. Because remember, we had a lot of new people and new leadership that they qualified, but they never requalified after we were going down. So now they
had the pin, but they weren't qualified at that level.
Exactly. So now they start seeing myself, but also, my other big leaders, my ambassadors and stuff like that, going down and doing events. Because, for example, for every event that I was going to do it in one city. But before that, I was like, you have to go on your country in a city to city to city tour to make sure that we have a lot of people in the convention. So you have to do the work for promoting that event. It's not just like Ana is going and you
can't just show up.
No, like you guys have to do your part. So me going there, I think it was like a good pressure for everybody because everybody went out and worked, and doing that also duplicate these little events in all these cities for the new people that never really knew how to work, the old school way.
Right.
And then for my convention in October last year in Colombia, everything was different. I had like 6,000 people in Colombia, in Bogota. So I start seeing, again, like people, going out and growing and being recognized and getting excited. And you know what I mean? The checks and the
so
rents.
Since October, everything starts feeling different.
Yeah.
So you don't have you probably don't have to be at quite the same pace. Are you still at the same pace, or probably not as much? What is it, once a month now?
I changed the strategy this year. Everything is about duplication.
Yeah.
And you said something I want to mention, that you said that it was hard for me to go back. It was like, why I have to do this? I have to mention, like, leaders in network marketing, people might not, maybe they don't think it is, but I feel it that way. And I've met big leaders. Like we really feel a big responsibility for the life of the people in our team.
Of course.
Like huge. Like it's not about my check and my money, because I was good.
Yeah.
But I knew what you said before. A lot of people were kind of struggling and you feel responsible. So when I
Even
went
though
and
you're
did
not responsible,
yeah,
you're not.
I
It's their
know.
business.
It's true.
They could go beyond you any day they want.
It's true.
Sometimes we take that on,
Yeah.
you know?
But you feel
Yeah.
in a certain way, like, what can I do to do better? What can I do to help them? You know? So that's how I felt when I went there. I knew that it was not like, oh, I'm doing this again. I knew that I'm like, okay, I'm teaching these new people. And from here, I'm going to have a lot of new leaders and a lot of new stories. So it was exciting that year. So after October, I changed the strategy this year. And we did the leadership the first 90 days that it was in April. And I announced the tour again, but I announced the tour with my leaders from country to country. So now I have leaders from Ecuador going to Colombia, from Colombia to Paraguay, from Paraguay
you systemized it.
Exactly. So I organized the big tour in every country.
You started it.
Exactly.
You proved it.
Exactly.
You duplicated it.
Exactly.
And you systemized it.
Exactly. So now this year, it's not that I'm not working the same. I'm just focusing on United States Latino market now. Really? So I started a tour in United States. And this year I've been working in United States, and we have been attracting new leadership,
of
like
course.
I told you before we started. And it has a lot to do with, the momentum and the growth also that we're now having. Because, a lot of Latino leaders from other companies actually, and backgrounds and people that we knew before, now that they're seeing that we're working more here in the United States, they're being attracted to the company.
Yeah.
And I have to say, all of this, it has been with a lot of support of the company also.
Sure,
the owners.
Sure. Yeah, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
How do you balance this and being a mom?
I think I kind of systemized it too. I'm a single mom though.
Yeah.
So,
You're dating?
Not right now.
Not right now? Huh?
No, I'm single now.
Yeah,
it's true. But I don't want to talk about it.
We'll keep it private.
Yeah,
right,
I don't want to talk about
it. Fair. You're like a celebrity. We'll keep it private. Fine. But single mom. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the system that you use in order to be able to keep great relationship with your girls.
So my girls, they go to their dad house every 15 days.
Okay.
A weekend is mine, and the other weekend is with their dad. So when I organize my agenda for the year, I
just work it out that way.
Exactly. I work when they go with their dads. Of course, there's things that I can't control. Exactly. But I try to organize even my work and everything in a way where I spend time with them, especially now, because that age and being girls is it's hard, Sure. It's new for me also. I have 3 teenagers or pre-teenagers at home.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to balance. But I think my kids, they have been their whole life in a network marketing.
What do they think of this world?
They love it. I feel
do they get a little cringy? There's, like my kids were like, oh, yeah, this is, Dad, what you do is so cringy sometimes, so sometimes they're a little bit embarrassed about it, but sometimes they're very proud of it. And my kids are all grown, but
I feel like that's what they know. They have been their whole life seeing, their mom and their dad, because he also do network marketing. Being in this environment for them is basically the normal thing. If you talk to my girls, that they don't have not even like this of being an employee, not even like this. Like I don't know what they're gonna be, at the end, but they say that they're gonna continue my legacy here in network marketing.
There we go.
They actually like it. But I'm gonna be honest. One of the thing is, the price that you have to pay of leaving them, especially when you're building at the beginning, that you have to pay this big price. You have to choose sometimes, and they're too independent because they're like, we grew up basically seeing you taking a bag and traveling and coming back and going to meetings every night.
A personal question, do you, when I found for myself, when you come up in struggle and difficulty, hard work and pressure, that when you make it and then you have kids and they're in pain because they make bad decisions,
Mm-hmm.
and you have money, you can take them out of pain
Mm-hmm.
just by you have the money to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they don't have to wait for Christmas.
Mm-mm.
They can just have, yeah, hey, I want that. Okay. And the one thing I feel like I didn't do as good of a job of is helping my kids become stronger based upon their own decisions and living with some of the consequences that they created. Now they've, obviously they're doing better and better and better and better. But for some of them, you want so bad, like this is why I work so hard, so you wouldn't have this pain.
Mm-hmm.
But when they don't have the pain, they don't grow.
Exactly.
So where are you with your girls?
I have this.
Are you tough, Mom?
Yeah.
Are you tough?
Yeah, I'm kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, they spend most of the time with me, so
Mhm.
I'm basically both things. You know what I mean? Like I cannot be too sweet sometimes because they live with me, so they have rules.
I'm gonna ask your sister. Is she tough?
Que si
Is
soy
she tough on her
estricta
kids?
con la niña.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I
I'm just
am.
double checking.
No, I am. And I have this conversation since now with them where I tell them that honestly, it's hard, but I tell them it's I work. It's my money.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like you eventually you have to work and make your money.
Mm.
It's going to be maybe easier because you have me, and it's true.
Mhm.
But you have to gain that. For example, I know
Like,
they're going to be...
I'm rich. You're not rich.
Exactly. I tell them all the time that.
I have the money. You're
It's
poor.
my money.
You're poor.
Exactly. It's my money.
You
It's
have
not
to
your
be
money.
grateful.
Yeah, like you have this life because it's my life.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you go out, you're going to have your own life.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make your choices and be prepared. And I tell them, of course, I'm going to support you. But for example, I have this conversation where I tell them, like, I want you to be an entrepreneur or have your own businesses and be very
But you're going to
successful.
have to figure that stuff out.
And I can support you, but you have to go to college.
Yeah.
You have to bring, if you want to have...
Do you think college is going to do it for them? Or because college didn't do it for you.
Mm-mm.
College didn't do it for me, right? And colleges mostly create employees.
Yeah.
Okay. So they don't create entrepreneurs as a general rule. They create employees. So I struggle with this a bit because our youngest just went to college. I think mostly to have fun, if I'm honest. And he's a very smart kid and he's going to do very well. I encouraged him to, learn finance or something that he could use in entrepreneurship and in making money. But there's so much of college is an employee farm where they grow employees, people that think like employees, act like employees, carry themselves like employees. If they never have to open up a salon or a difficult restaurant or work from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. because you created a situation where they don't have to. They just have to go get a college degree. Will they become tough enough is the question. And I don't know the answer. I'm just asking.
Honestly, I have this conversation because I don't want them to think that they're going to be out of school and just do nothing. You know what I mean? I want them to choose what path they're going to be on. And I want them to be prepared on that. It doesn't matter what they prefer. For example, I have one that she said that she's going to have her own line of beauty products and blah, blah, blah. You have to have a background. You cannot be thinking that you're going to count with me and I'm going to give you the money and you're going to start your own business. No, you have to bring me that you have the knowledge on, the skin, or if it's hair,
Or raise your own money.
or exactly, or business or something that I know that if I'm going to help you out with your dream, which I want to do it, at least you're going to be successful at it because you have the background and you have the knowledge. So that's the conversation that I have with them. Like they know they cannot be thinking that they're going to be living the good life without doing any effort.
Yeah.
And I don't have that fear thinking that they might be an employee, because honestly, that's not in their mind at all.
Well, because you're their backup plan.
Yeah.
That's
maybe.
why they're not thinking that way. If they had a mom who was working in a restaurant and a salon,
Exactly.
they might be thinking differently, about maybe that one day they'll be able to run the salon.
Maybe.
You never know.
Maybe. But I think that they're going to start in network marketing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to start, and they're going to be studying.
My kids never did. I mean, one of mine works for a network marketing company as a corporate employee. But the rest, and another one works for us. But the rest, found their own path and doing their own thing, which is fine.
That's good. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. So this whole journey is super fascinating, and congratulations on your success with your organization. What advice do you have for somebody who's either taking a look at this, or maybe they've gotten started and didn't get off to this, not having the results that they want, or they're comparing themselves to others, or they're maybe a little bit impatient, or maybe they're stuck at a certain level and they want to go to the next level? What advice do you have?
It's not because I'm here in this interview with you, but something that I read in your book is when you decide to become a professional, you understand that it's not just excitement. You have to have certain knowledge. So I really believe that when someone starts network marketing and they don't understand that, they don't prepare, they don't learn the abilities, of course it's going to be hard, of course, because they don't actually know what they're doing. But if they start preparing themselves in this industry and they understand how to do certain things and they understand how to become a pro, things will become different for them. I remember that I learned in a training that you did many years ago, this 90-day launching plan with you. That's how I create my own 90-day system. And all the abilities that I learned in GoPro, also part of my system in duplication. And it has worked for me 2 times. Like it's a proven method. Network marketing really works when you know how to do things. When you build the list, when you know how to talk to people, when you know how to follow
learn the
up.
skills.
Learn the skills, exactly. And understand that it's a business. People think it's a lottery. People think you're gonna join and it's a talent, situation, or it's, you're lucky. And no, I was not lucky at all. I paid the price and I did the job and I learned the skills and I prepare myself,
So what I hear from your story is, 1 is you learned the skills. 2 is you worked harder than anybody else on your team. And if you get a little bit better every day and you learn from your mistakes, then you become unstoppable.
Exactly. And just keep going.
Yeah.
Understanding that, like you said, there's low, there's ups, but if you have a good company and you believe in, and you have, and you see future, just keep going. It's normal. That process is completely normal here in network marketing.
So you're a very young woman. So what's next for you? What do you see in 10 years? Your kids are 24, 22, 21. And you've been building for another 10 years.
Yes.
What do you see?
I feel at this point, I'm going to say, I feel proud of myself, of where I am and what I have achieved, being a Latina woman from the R, all the things that have happened, being right now the top earner in the Latino market, blah, blah, blah. But I really see myself getting a lot of people to that level too. I have this the vision that I share, with Stormy, the 1,000 families. I really believe in that. I really want to have 1,000 families free with this business. I feel, not retiring. I don't see myself retiring because I really love what I do. But I feel having and seeing more and more and more people achieving the top in this industry in my organization. And when you talk about 10 years, I just feel like I'm going to be this, I've seen it before. People that have 30 years in the same company, building, and they have these huge organizations. I see myself that way.
Yeah.
Having more millionaires. I have 15 millionaires in my team till today that I have
15?
15 families. I see a lot more. I see a lot of more people, achieving big ranks, and me giving more chains and more rings and just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's spreading, like expanding and spreading the word. I really love network marketing. I love what I do. I love this profession. I love what I have done in my life, but I also love what I see, after all these 13 years that I have in the industry, almost 10 years in this company. I love what I see that this industry can do with the life of people when they believe and they work.
Well, Ana, I want to thank you for coming 12 hours from
Yes.
DR to Las Vegas to sit down with me for your first interview.
Yes.
First of many, I hope. We'll do
see.
some more in the future. But thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing your story. And I think a lot of people are going to get value from it and get some inspiration from it. So I appreciate it very much.
Thank you for having me here. I can say one of my, checklist dream come true, being in this interview with you. Such an honor. Thank you for everything that you have done in the industry and all the life that you have touched. Your podcast, your trainings, the events, the books, all this knowledge. I've learned a lot from you without even knowing you, dreaming one day of being on stage with you.
Yeah.
I have been in many of the events already, and I know this is just the beginning. And I want to say that I really want more Latinos.
Come on, let's go.
More Latinos. I really want more Latinos of every company.
Let's make it happen together.
Yeah, having this experience and
Fastest growing market, I think, in the world.
Yes, I want more Latinos. Being at the top, winning and really like changing their lives with this opportunity. And I know they do it through you, but I know we can be even more bigger, more people.
Well, we'll do it together.
Yes, please.
All right.
Thank you.
So that's my conversation with Ana Cantera. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, forward it to someone you care about, especially somebody who's Latino, who is bilingual. We wanted to figure out a way to do this in Spanish, but since I don't speak Spanish, find somebody who is at least bilingual, who can get value from this and maybe be inspired. Okay? Help us spread the word. I'd appreciate it. Take the information and pay it forward. Until next time, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.